helping?
No, that's okay.
Well, forgetting these politics, I mean, it's been a rough time in history. Are Americans really stupid? Question mark. Yeah, I'm looking at this issue in a fresh way and trying to figure out if I'm stupid in a way. Oh, yeah, let's see if you can do a podcast that isn't stupid.
No.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to reduce my stupidity. That's why I'm reading books. So what do you want me to do? I'm reading in The Captive Mind, the winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature, Vintage International, Czeslaw, Milosz, Chapter 2. Looking to the West, are Americans really stupid? I was asked in Warsaw, so somebody asked him if Americans were stupid.
Yeah.
He was asked, and
Put it here.
I'm asking
Come
now.
around. Here, I got
I'm asked now if are Americans really stupid? Yeah.
Take it around.
Well, that could be argued that some of them are, or most of them are really stupid. What? You're saying that most Americans are really stupid? Wait a minute. Who are you to say such stuff? How do you know?
Just put it through there.
Are Americans really stupid?
No, that's easy. Look,
Well,
did it.
Yeah, there.
in the voice of the man who posed the question, there was despair, as well as the hope that I would contradict him. Well, there is some despair over whether they're stupid. Yeah, you could see. There's a lot of reasons to think they're stupid, and a lot of them are stupid, I suppose. And they could be provincial and not globally aware, or not that educated, or narrow-minded. And there's been a lot of people that have, through getting these politics, I mean, it's been a rough time in history, and yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff going on, and we had a pandemic. This question reveals the attitude of the average person in the world, people's democracies towards the West. Yeah, it reveals there's an attitude about the average people and the people's democracies towards the West, and there's a attitude and not that great of respect in this podcast for the democracies in the West. It is a despair mixed with a residue of hope. Well, isn't there a residue of hope when you talk about a democracy? I mean, you felt hopeful when you were reading about Thomas Jefferson, or maybe you read Thomas Paine, or you read... what about your Adam Smith guy, or don't you have any others? During the last few years, the West has given these people a number of reasons to despair politically. Well, there have been a number of reasons to despair. Well, if you look at the politics, well, yeah, but you're not prone to despair because you promote mystical enlightenment and meditation, and yeah, so you're not really that involved in despair. You're just going to meditate and go play volleyball, and I don't see why you read this stuff even. I mean, and there's quite a bit of despair in the New York Times over people losing their home insurance and their home home insurance coverage of their homes all across the country, even in the middle of the country, like Iowa or something. So you're saying car insurance and home insurance and all this stuff is going way up? Yeah, well, maybe the prices of homes will come down if it goes way up. Yeah. What's that got to do with despair and politics? In the case of the intellectual, other more complicated reasons come into play. Yeah, well, if you deal with the intellectuals, like a lot of intellectuals, they write opinion pieces in the New York Times, and lately you haven't even read those things, and you skip over them, but you used to read the whole articles, but now sometimes you read a little and stop. I mean, what's going on? Are you no longer an intellectual too? What? In the case of the intellectual, other more complicated reasons come into play. Before the countries of Central and Eastern Europe entered the sphere of the Imperium, they lived through the Second World War. That war was much more devastating there than in the countries of Western Europe. Well, I suppose the war was more devastating in the Eastern Europe. Yeah, more Russians died and more people died in the eastern part of the Eastern European. And it's funny, there's this book, it's like the notes of Ernst Jünger. It must be kind of interesting because he's probably... Remember, not every German is a bad person, and I don't know, this guy probably isn't a bad person, but his job was, he was a German in Paris, and I don't know how bad he is, but he wrote about his memoirs, about being, he actually had to do counterintelligence or something. This guy, what's his name? Ernst Jünger is a German officer in occupied Paris. He's mentioned by the Bernard Henry Levy. And, what are you going to learn about that? Well, occupied Paris is probably not just devastating as in the eastern part. It was much worse in Stalingrad, The war was much more devastating than than in the countries of Western Europe. It destroyed not only their economies, but also a great many values which had seemed till then unshakable. Where's their values, I wonder, in the eastern part? What happened over there? People tend to regard the order he lives in as natural. Man tends to regard the order he lives in as natural. Okay, is it natural? The houses he passes on his way to work seem more like rocks rising out of the earth than like products of human hands. He considers the work he does in his office or factory as essential to the harmonious functioning of the world. I considered like my muni gigs and my municipal finance work as essential to the harmonious functioning of the world, because I would do like things like housing finance, and I would do student loan deals, and you just got all the kids in debt, and then you do like you're building bridges and roads, and did you fund courthouses? Like you did municipal finance for a courthouse? You did all kinds of stuff, I guess, didn't you? Yeah. What else did you do? Tobacco settlement gigs. The harmonious functioning of the world. Well, in a lot of ways, all these cities and states were like, in a way, they're with all this muni bonds. I mean, sort of like they use a credit card and all got the debt going up and maintain debt. They'll sell muni bonds backed by tax receipts. And in the future, what? Yeah, why don't they just spend their tax receipts in the present moment? Well, yeah, I know, muni finance. Why would you have an opinion? Yeah. The clothes he wears are exactly what they should be. And he laughs at the idea that he might equally well be wearing a Roman toga or medieval armor. Yeah, the funny thing is I saw the picture of like Putin with Xi, with the guy, the premier of China, and Putin, and they had like these Western-looking suits on, like their tailor was from London. What? So if they're like so anti-Western, and why are they wearing a British tailored suit? Yeah, they are like, why do they wear that? Why don't they wear some Russian, like Putin could dress like a Cossack or something, and Tsai could wear traditional, like, Chinese clothes. Why do they identify with the West? Yeah. Why are they wearing those suits? That is so stupid. They should wear a Roman toga. He respects and envies a minister of state or a bank director and regards the possession of a considerable amount of money as the main guarantee of peace and security. Yeah, well, I consider having a large amount of money as a guarantee of security. So you want to have a large amount of money, yeah. Yeah, the master's saying, like, these people, they think if they just accumulate a lot of money and stuff, that'll guarantee peace and security. If I had, like, a big house, let's say, and I had the mortgage paid off, and yeah, but then you would have, what about your insurance? If you don't have a mortgage, you don't need insurance, but what if there's a hurricane or tornado, and where's your security, and where's your money, and what if there's inflation? He respects and envies the minister of state or a bank director, and regards the possession of a considerable amount of money as the main guarantee of peace and security. Yeah, some people, like, they actually will listen to what that guy who's the president of Chase Bank, or what he's always said, J.P. Morgan, whatever you call it, they'll always, like, say, wonder what he's saying, his predictions, but his predictions are, like, as bad as the rest of them. He cannot believe that one day a rider may appear on the street. He knows well where cats sleep and children play and start catching passers-by with his lasso. He is accustomed to satisfying those of his physiological needs, which are considered private, as discreetly as possible, without realizing that such a pattern of behavior is not common to all human societies. In a word, he behaves a little like Charlie Chaplin in the gold rush, bustling about in a shack, poised precariously on the edge of a cliff. Yeah, I was, for many years, was bustling about in the gold rush, trying to accumulate arbitrage profits, bustling about in a shack, and I had the shack, and there had the pied-à-terre apartment in Manhattan, and then there was the house, and in Richfield, Connecticut, or the house in Reading, Connecticut, or the shack, and I bustled about on the train, and I took the train, and then I would try to accumulate and bustle and accumulate gold. What? And then, but it was all precarious and on the edge of a cliff. Oh, so you were like Charlie Chaplin in the gold rush as you went about your life. And then you proved that maybe the point here, that Americans really are stupid. Oh, so you are stupid, yeah. His first stroll along the street littered with glass from bomb-shattered windows shakes his faith in the naturalness of his world. The wind scatters papers from hastily evacuated offices, papers labeled confidential or top secret. Yeah, and they had these like papers that Trump had taken down to Mar-a-Lago that evoked visions of safes and keys and compasses, couriers and secretaries. Now the wind blows them through the street for anyone to read, yet no one does, for each man is more urgently concerned with finding a loaf of bread. Yeah, a lot of people they were concerned about their privacy, and they're worried about the Netflix, about Facebook and the Instagram and all their personal information on the internet floating about in this podcast. And they would evoke visions of all this stuff and the stuff blowing around, but when it comes down to it, it's more urgent to be concerned of finding a loaf of bread. Oh, okay. Also, you find people who are hungry and they want something to eat, then they're not shifting through your privacy of your podcast. No. They're generally not searching around, and it's not that interesting. My personal information is not that interesting. Oh, so you're a borer, yeah. Yeah, it turns out that I'm an extremely boring person. My private information is of no value. Oh, you make yourself boring, and that's why it's not of no value. And this other guy, he's saying that there is a book called The Subprime Attention Crisis, where the advertising and the time bomb at the heart of the internet, that a lot of these companies, whether they're Google or whatever they are, the basis of their evaluation is based on advertising revenues, but he's saying that these advertisements are not working. What? People are ignoring digital advertising, so these companies may collapse, and we have the new subprime crisis. In Subprime Attention Crisis, Tim Wong investigates the way big tech financializes attention.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm drawing attention myself away from these ads and from the internet in this podcast.
Yeah.
To teaching people to meditate and put their attention on the third eye. He shows us how digital advertising, the apparently unstoppable money machine at the heart of the internet, is actually at risk of collapsing.
All right.
And that its potential instability bears an uncanny resemblance to the housing bubble of 2008. Moving from the unreliability of advertising numbers and the widespread fraud taking place within advertising markets to the simple fact that online ads mostly fail to work. Yeah, and a lot of the ads I was to put in this podcast were mostly going to fail. And Wong demonstrates that while consumers' attention has never been more prized, Yeah, I don't know how much I prize the attention of the consumers, but the consumers podcast. Hey, but why don't you prize the attention? Well, I still try to direct people's attentions to their third eye in meditation. The true value of advertising, much like that of subprime mortgages, is wildly misrepresented. Deeply searched, convincing, and alarming subprime attention crisis will change the way you look at the internet in this precarious future. It's got this little book here. It's not actually that big, but if you're a one-idea writer, I mean, that's why I was saying it's like a one-concept book. This could be a one-idea book. Yeah, you've criticized books as having one idea, and they write a book. Yeah, well, what you could do is maybe get the AI to summarize the book. Yeah, I did that on a number of books, and sometimes I'll ask the AI to just give me a book summary. They actually do. One of the uses of AI I found that's useful is like say, can you just summarize this book? And it actually does. Those kind of things like summarizing is does a pretty good job, and that's not. You don't have to be that intelligent because it's not. That's an example of where Americans are stupid. American AI is actually stupid, but it's functional when it has a stupid job. It does well. Oh, yeah, that's stupid. Wait, what does that make you stupid? Yeah, well, it could make you more stupid if you use AI and just read a summary. Oh, then that proves the point that you are stupid and your AI is also stupid. Okay. Well, strangely enough, the world goes on even though the offices of secret files have lost all meaning. Farther down the road, he stops before a house split in half by a bomb. Well, that has happened in Ukraine. This house is split by bombs. The privacy of people's homes. That's happened in Gaza Strip, and the family smells the warmth of the beehive life, the furniture preserving the memory of loves and hatreds cut open to public view. Well, the house itself no longer a rock, but a scaffolding of plaster, concrete, and brick, and on the third floor a solitary white bathtub, rain rinsed, and of all recollection of those who once bathed in it. Its formerly influential and respected owners, now destitute, walk the fields in search of stray potatoes. Yeah, well, she hasn't been buying potatoes, and I don't know why. I guess we don't have a strong emphasis on poppies or potatoes. Thus, overnight, money loses its value and becomes a meaningless mass of printed paper. Oh, God. Is that going to happen? Did your stuff become a meaningless mass of printed paper? Well, yeah. Huh. So you're saying that the paper money is going to become a meaningless mass and crypto is becoming meaningless? Wow, that is despair. You are in despair? But I thought you weren't in despair. Why aren't you in despair? Oh, okay. Well, we're just looking at the West. His walk takes him past a little boy poking a stick into a heap of smoking ruins and whistling a song about the great leader who will preserve the nation against all enemies. if we could get a great leader and we could whistle a song, we could preserve the nation against all enemies. If we had like a strong man, if you could move to the right and get a strong man like me in this podcast, and I could train the AI to run the country and teach people meditation or something. If they were as strong as I was. I mean, they said yesterday on the tennis court that, oh, he's a champion. I had won two difficult sets of tennis against advanced, technically good players. What? These were stars and you beat them? I mean, one set actually went to 8-6 and they all won. I've never even played to 8. Wow. Because we were playing, not doing a tiebreaker. And the other one is also, the other guy, like the opponent, he hit these like serves, like one of the fastest I've seen. I got some back, and one of them like came right at me, and the other one's an ace, and we even beat them despite the one guy. Some of these super fast hitters, they're not that accurate either. Like he even failed to return my serves and threw them out, and they went out. And they have high error rates. What I describe them as, like people who, in their minds, think they're pros. They're not pros, but in their mind, they are a pro. Okay, so you beat people who think they're pros, but not actually pros, yeah.